Well, welcome. Have a seat, and it's great to see you, and I am thrilled to be here. Over these next few weeks, we are going to be live on the set here of New Hope Stage. And you know, July is that month where you kind of get to go, spring is over, and we have an opportunity to finish all the cleaning, and you get your garden ready, and you mow grass, you know, and then maybe you do some weed eating, and how about you mow some more grass?
Lots of grass.
Do you mow grass?
I do. Lots of grass.
Lots of grass, and then you work in the flower beds, and then you get to kind of think about vacation and resting, and then you mow grass, you know, and mowing grass. Do you like to mow grass?
I must love to mow grass.
Love it.
I mow a lot of it, and all my vacations were canceled so I could mow grass this year.
But you know, it flies. Time really flies. It flies in the summer, and actually, I've noticed that it flies when you turn 60. I just turned 60 this year, so super excited about that. Yep. I'm incredibly impressed with the changes to my body and how things just kind of keep getting lower. You know? My eyebrows are now on my lips, I noticed, and I won't mention the other lowering things from this stage, but, you know, there's a need for lists all the time, and, you know, at my house, they're like technology, and they're like, Mom, just put it in your phone. Okay. So I have the little note thing, I stick it in my phone, then where's my phone? You know, so it's like, oh my gosh, where's my phone? It's like I need a homing device for it. But I just can't get over how time flies. And you know, you end up like, now you're in a different season. You're in like a whole different, like, whoa, how'd I get here? It's like, wait a minute, we have a horse farm now. And that wasn't on my bucket list, actually. But we have a horse farm, have 3 horses. They're amazing. They teach me every day. And I'm in a very big learning curve, I'll tell you that. But it's kind of a new thing. Actually, my husband says, we have a service farm and a service produce farm. And when people say, oh, what are you producing? What are you growing? And he said, well, we are raising horses to take hay and turn it into poop. So that's our produce. If anybody needs any poop, I would be glad to deliver it. I have a pickup, and I have as much as you possibly need, just about any time that you need. So, but you know what? Who ever knew I would love this? I mean, I'm in muck boots with my pajamas just about every morning, and I just can hardly wait to get in the barn. But there was this nudging from me that's like, go do this, you know, go buy your grandma's farm, go set up for this. And I didn't know it would be a good fit for me if I would not have said yes to the nudge. And that's kind of what we're here for. You can pray for us. We're getting ready to launch at Rosie C. Ranch a program called Stable Time. And it's going to be a program for victims of trauma and veterans to kind of help them process in equine assisted activities. So, pretty excited. But, you know, isn't it just crazy how one day your life is in a routine and the next day, by circumstance or choice, it's completely different. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, Alex Trebek, and he said, we are all 20 minutes away from somebody creating a circumstance in us that could change our life, it could change our legacy, it could ruin our ministry, our family. And I was like, whoa, I thought about that. And I thought about how decisions I've made have already started that down the chain for me. But then I also recognize, no, there's hope and restoration. And there's always another option. And that option, of course, is kind of working on the path of who Jesus is. So where do you fit in? That's what we're talking about. Where do you guys think you fit in? No? I mean, where do you fit in, Laura?
in the middle of the chaos of a small army that I created myself.
Yep.
We got enough poop at our house. You don't need to deliver anything.
Very good. I'll keep that in mind. Of course, the dog that you gave me eats a lot of it, so that helps.
I'm not sad about that one. I'm sorry.
So we got a great show for you guys today, a great show. So stay with us as we put together some fresh perspectives to how we fit in. You know, we all need signs of many kind, and I just can't think of anybody else to introduce to our stage but our new sign guy every week, Andy Colace. You know, just coming from Ukraine, you guys just need to start planning. You got to go. We need our people over there. I mean, it would cause a revival. I just know it. They would really, really use you in a way that's unbelievable. And so, Vince, I'm going to put you on task to get that organized, okay?
I'll work on that.
All right,
get on that.
right.
With all these boiling hot mud bugs.
We'll go in October when you don't have to mow so much grass.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, if we don't use your product, we won't have to mow as much either. So
Ooh, my new product. Or I could just bring a horse.
there you go.
That would solve the whole
like an
problem
instant
for
mow.
you. Yeah. I don't know if Ukrainians can say Mississippi.
We'll teach them.
So, our first set of guests are just the element of surprise. Guys, we just don't know what's going to happen here, and we love it that way. So, without any further ado, who better than out of the mouths of babes to start us off about who we might be as we fit into Jesus. So, if you would welcome Liam, Jovi, and Ellie. The dinosaur. Miss Ellie, what's your dinosaur's name?
Dino.
Dino. Awesome. So, guys, first of all, thank you for coming back for the second week. Okay? And as I said, the element of surprise is you never know. And Jovi, no, okay, sit back. I don't know whose family she belongs to, but she knows supposed to tell anybody that, okay? So, guys, Liam, let's start with you, honey. Is there a time in your life where you think you've had a special, Jovi, where you've had a special assignment from God, or that God might have talked to you about anything?
No.
Okay. Let me rephrase the question. Is there a time where you think God has asked you to do anything or be part of something?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's the answer I was looking for. Can you talk about what that might be, or?
Using me for stuff?
Yeah, using you for stuff, and maybe hanging out here at the church with your mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like that?
Yes.
You do?
Uh-huh.
That's a good answer. Seeing as you're the pastor's kid, that's a really good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think Jesus talks to you?
Yes.
Oh, good. Do you pray?
Yes.
Do you see him answering your prayers?
Yes.
Wow, so cool. How about you, Miss Ellie?
Well, I have special dreams about him where he talks about stuff.
You have a special time where he talks to you about stuff?
Special dreams.
In your dreams? Wow. Do you know what he says, or can you share what he says?
I mean, I remember one thing. that He always forgives you when you make sins.
That's your little girl. How about you, Jovi? Is there a time that God talks to you, and be honest?
I don't know.
You don't know? One time you and I were riding in the truck to go get gravel, and you said, Grandma, what's sin? I think God talks to me about sin. Do you remember that conversation? Do you remember that conversation at all?
Yes.
Yeah. So does God ever talk to you in your prayers or anything?
Disco party.
He wants to just go party. And there you have it. Out of the mouths of babes. Our future little rapper. I think we could add her to the vents in the Mississippi mud bogs, and we would be good. You guys, mud bogs? Is that what you were?
Put the rap
Okay.
version together.
Liam, Jovi, no. Any last words, Liam? Can you give the mic to Liam?
No.
Okay.
Have a last word.
What's your last word? All right. Thanks, you guys. Woo! Oh, gotta love them. You know what? Every week we're going to do a game. Here. Every week we're going to do a game and watch this video. So let's bring up our next guest, you guys. Ariel Ellis, come on down. Ariel, how are you?
Good.
Good? Sit on.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. Ariel did an amazing job for service. I'm so proud of her. We have just recently started hanging out together, Ariel and I. Her dad and I have been kind of doing some coaching on leadership here at the church and realized that we literally live 3 minutes away from each other. And so that kind of put us in close proximity, and which has gotten me to know the kids. And she has a heart like this big for horses, and I have a need this big to help with poop. And together we are a good team. And she's learned to love Cinnamon and Dallas and Sissy, and I'm just so excited about doing horse stuff with you. Yeah. See the excitement? Just look at the enthusiasm. What's your favorite thing about the barn?
I like driving the tractor, and I want to like ride the horses and stuff.
Yeah, driving the tractor. Yeah, I was like, can you drive a tractor? No, but you can teach me. That's her attitude. It's very good. So, Ariel, I noticed that you've been here at New Hope for a while. You're obviously come with your family and your brothers, and who are equally as amazing, Timmy and Trevor. Thank you. And I just want to, at what point did you start to realize that Christ was something that you needed to be part of in your life?
A few years ago, me, Dad, and Timmy and Trevor we all sat around the campfire and started talking about God and stuff, but we would sit up until like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, yeah. Anytime you have a parent that's willing to sit around a campfire and talk to their kids about God, he's doing okay, isn't he?
Amen.
You know, what Ariel really shared with me last night was that they start at the campfire talking about President Trump, and then they end up talking about God. So I'm not sure how the process goes, but any of you that knows Terry, you wouldn't find that by a surprise. So you've accepted Christ in your life?
Yep.
And were you baptized?
I was 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Awesome. At the river?
Yes.
Cool.
No, at the pool.
At the pool. You were at the Lauderdale pool.
Yes.
That's right. Okay. And have you found God nudging you to do things or become part of things because of your relationship with him?
I'm not sure, but like first service, I was a little more nervous to do this, but now I'm not that nervous and stuff.
Yeah. So stepping into even doing this, to saying, You want me to do what? I'm Ariel. I want you to share your faith. I want you to let people know that how old are you?
I'm 12.
And you're going to be in middle school? You're in middle school now?
Yeah, I'm going to 7th grade.
What grade?
7th grade.
7th grade. You know that at 7th grade, God starts to prompt us. I mean, we heard amongst some bebopping with the small children, God really does start to talk to them. And I was kind of taken back by that we get this prompting of how we might fit into life at an early age. And then when I started hanging out with Ariel and Trevor and Timmy and them, I was like, wow. And then my own grandchildren moving in with us temporarily, and then just the way life goes. I'm sure, Laura, you have tons of stories at Hopeland of the kids that come here. It's a profound opportunity. Liam, I have the privilege of being around, and just the questions they ask, the visions they see, the way that they pray, and here you are. And so I thank you. Thank you for stepping up to the plate for this. It's a big deal. I noticed that you don't ever go, as even a little one, you've never gone to the kids' church program piece often. Why is that?
Me, Timmy, and Trevor always stay down here with Dad and Grandma and stuff and listen to the music up here and stuff.
Cool. Grandma, you got this. Yeah. Do you ever stop and think about the influences that we can have on helping kids hear their hearts? I mean, it's incredible. So do you find it hard at school to be a Christian?
No.
Not at all. I mean, you just stay steadfast in your faith. And how do you do that?
I'm not sure.
Do you have a practice at home or in the evenings?
I read my Bible. Me, Timmy, and Trevor are reading our Bibles all the way through, starting to read our Bibles all the way through.
Ooh, that's amazing. I feel shamed now. Yeah, and I think that's probably what guards you up. I mean, that helps guard you up for what you got ahead of you. Have you ever thought about not being a Christian? No. Wow. Pray for her, guys. Isn't she amazing? She's on her way. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ariel. We've got another guest coming up here. Let's bring up Dr. Stinemetz. Real close to you now.
Thank you.
Dr. Stinemetz. Wow, this is fun. I really have enjoyed getting to know Dr. Stinemetz better through this process. And, I'm not real familiar with your story. And do you want to share with everyone how you got to New Hope?
Yeah, the church had just opened, and we got a postcard that invited us. And, of course, it says on there, "Come as you are. Even Christ wore sandals." And I said, this is a pretty neat church. They care more about your soul than what you got on your back or your clothes that you're wearing. So we decided to come check it out, and we've been here ever since. So.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
Love
awesome. You are a chiropractor?
Correct.
How many years have you been doing that?
45.
45. Wow. Who sees him? You have patients here? Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Do you ever find God working through that?
Oh, yes, every day. He guides me through a lot of processes each day. Mm-hmm. I have a little story that I also witness to my patients, and the Christian patients I have not a bit of problem with. They're open and receptive, but then I have my doorknob patients that as they get closer to the doorknob and they touch their doorknob, then I know that it's time for me to stop. So, but you plant the seed, and hope that it grows from there. So
he is amazing. How did you know that you were going to fit in with Jesus, or let Jesus fit in with you?
Well, that's a long journey, and every journey starts with one step. And I found that our church here is the rock. I mean, it's a good foundation to build on. But our small group is definitely a big part of staying on course and going through the process of this long journey. And we've actually come up with about 4 points of interest that we feel that it's necessary to continue on the process. And of course, one is you have to read the Bible. You know, that pretty much is self-explanatory there. But then you have to meditate on what you read. You just can't read it and put the Bible down and go on. You've got to think about it and let God work in you on that. Thirdly, you have to pray. And I pray every day. I pray over my patients. I pray over my family. I pray over the church.
You mentioned that you have a prayer book that you keep handy.
Yeah, I keep the people's names in there. But
Do you ever lose it?
yeah.
I would see me losing it.
But God knows where it's at, and He knows the names that are in there. So we get by. We get by. Fourthly, I think the last point is you have to surround yourself with godly people. If you do that, they keep you on the straight and narrow. And our small group is full of those type of people. I love them to death. And we transform ourselves through them sometimes. And we got a vast variety of diversity in our group, young and old, and so we.
You're the young, of course.
Yeah, of course. I'm the mature one. So. But
do you guys eat good?
yes, we do. We eat sometimes very well.
Very well.
Too much sometimes. So, but yes, it's good. But you know, we go through this journey, and I don't know whether we ever know exactly whether we've at the point of the journey where God wants us to be. I try to be better today than I was yesterday, and better tomorrow than I am today. So.
Wow. That's a T-shirt. We should make that a New Hope T-shirt.
I should make that New Hope T-shirt.
Is there ever a time where you're in doubt or you just kind of feel like, I'm not sure I want to stay on the journey, or?
No, never.
What keeps you where you are?
But small group is a big part of that. I think midweek you need to have your batteries charged up a little bit. And let me tell you, our small group, they're energetic. They keep us on our toes. So that's one way. I try not to let myself get down. It's so easy to do, but that's Satan fighting you there. And you just put your faith back in the journey and move ahead.
I am, I don't know if anybody else is where I'm at. I don't have a small group now. I've invited myself to a few, but I haven't been accepted. So. I don't know what that says.
Our group is the more the merrier.
Yeah. But, I really got a bad attitude about small groups. And we had an amazing small group once. And God asked me to leave it. And I was pretty mad. But ironically, that is the same small group now that he's in. And as I'm sitting here processing this, I'm thinking, what if I would have kept in there just for my own personal gain, how I would have muttered up the opportunity for you to be in connection, and that so sitting here listening to you is just like prompting me to just recognize the need for that fellowship and that need for the tapping in, just tap in with somebody every once in a while, because I can be kind of one of the worst offenders of that, and you're inspiring me.
Can't imagine that, but.
Well, it's true. It's true. I remember you and I were chatting, and you said to me, I said, what did you do when you got off the path, the journey? And you said to me, I've never been off the path. You're in 45 years of a career, so you're a senior, and I'm just like, you've never really ventured off the path. And Could you share a little bit about that?
Well, back in the day when the church first started, we had a man there named Dan, and he put it pretty precisely. He said, we're on a spiritual pathway of life, and it's a one-way street or a two-way street. You're either moving towards God or you're moving away from God. There's no avenues that you can take, or you're standing still. I try to remember that, and I try to keep moving forward.
Oh.
So,
Do you ever fall in a meltdown puddle like me and cry out?
I think we all cry out at times when we're overwhelmed with things, and you don't know what's coming at you next. It seems like everything comes at you in bunches, and you have to fight through that.
Yeah, I just had an experience recently at my house with our family moving. They just got out of the Army, and they're just readjusting their life, and then we move, and we have all these animals, and I have 3 dogs, 3 horses, 3 grandbabies, and I found myself right before Ukraine.
They fall in the same category.
Yeah.
The animals.
Yeah, they all have the same instinct, eat and poop. And I was like, just like right before Ukraine, and I'm, really, God, really, how am I going to do this? I'm not prepared to go. I'm the least person that should go. I don't know what I'm doing with the horses. I left the stupid barn door unlocked again, and they got out. I mean, it's just like all this stuff. And I remember standing there going, how do I fit in? And him saying, you don't, I do. And I was like, ugh. And I remember hitting my knees in my muck boots and pajamas and just crying out to God, because I was desperate to finish. I was desperate to keep moving and to get that next day ahead of me. And I honestly I remember pouring it out, and I remember the horses just kind of like breathing. I could just hear them breathe with me. And a couple days after that, I was like, okay, Lord, I'm not a person for signs, but Scripture shows up in places and stuff. And I came home, and my daughter's like, Mom, you aren't going to believe this. She's like, in this storm, she said, look what God showed me. And there's a picture here. That's our farmhouse with a double rainbow over it. And I remember just looking at that, and God, just like the song, Peace Be Still, I couldn't help but tear up when you guys were doing that, because I was thinking of this. It's like, he's just saying, I got this. We're okay. And your testimony is just an inspiration to remind me that there is that.
We keep forgetting sometimes to give it up.
Yeah.
Let him carry it.
Yeah, we sure do. We sure do. You know, Ariel and Rob, Ariel, I hope you're gaining some insight listening. And together, you guys keep each other in prayer. We'll all keep you in prayer. And just thank you so much. How we can go from the young, the bebops and the dreamers, to the older Ariel, and then us.
Mature.
The mature.
Yeah.
That's right. So thank you so much. Watch this next video. We'll be back with our last guest. Wow. All you need is a willing heart, and I can't think of any 2 more willing hearts. We had almost 2 weeks together, and we came back loving more of each other, which is always a good sign. And it was just amazing. It was an amazing opportunity. My next guest, Beth Wilson and Mana McMullen. Welcome home from Ukraine. Yeah? Thank you. So, Mana, maybe not your first time out of the country, but your first time in a very long time. How was it?
Amazing. Just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, you said yes to Ukraine several years ago. I remember you're like, I'm going. Okay, great. And then you're like, I just don't know when. Okay, fine. We'll work with that. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going. Good. When? Just not this year. Okay, fine. Great. And then this year you're like, I'm in. This is the year.
Yep.
And your yes was yes, and you were in from the time we showed up for the first meeting to we got off the plane together here back in the good old Boston airport. And what an experience. Every trip is always different, but for some reason, I was kind of the weak link, and God gave me everybody.
That's not true.
That's not true. God gave me everybody I needed to sustain me with these ladies, and it was absolutely incredible. So, Mana, I would like to start with you. How were you impacted? Was there something significant that you'd like to share that kind of brought you into the fold?
Well, other people that have gone told me that it was life-changing, and they were right. So on the way home, all these thoughts were coming to my head, and I thought, I got to write these all down. So I kind of wrote it down in a monologue. So is it all right if I just kind of read this?
A monologue?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
All right, have at it.
Okay.
Woo-hoo! This is good, Vince. Pay attention.
I will.
And I expect
Well, it's a
you to-
monologue with Mana and her log, so it kind of makes sense, right? Monologue.
Oh, you're good.
That could be a T-shirt.
Well, right now it's kind of like Cinderella because these are size 6.5, and I wear size 8. So I'm going to balance myself
It looks painful.
on my ruby slippers. Okay. I know someone over here is going to pick me up if I fall.
That's right.
So this is called Finding the Land of Oz. Before leaving for the Ukraine, my daughter gave me a book called Finding Dorothy to read. It's a fiction about making the Wizard of Oz. During the 4-hour ride to Rivne, Ukraine from the airport, I heard the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow come over the car radio. And then the morning of leaving from Kyiv, I was sitting in the hotel lobby, and the song came on again. Gives me shivers just thinking about it. While I was there, I felt like I was in the land of Oz. I flew with the wind and was greeted with lots of love. I saw beautiful buildings and poppies, rainbows, goodness, and yet evidence of evil. I exchanged gifts that included lollipops and bubble gum. Many relationships were developed quite quickly. And like Dorothy experienced in the land of Oz, it was different, challenging, fearful, and exciting all in one. I experienced things that showed me that I wasn't in Kansas or Ohio anymore. Many people ask me what the trip to Ukraine was like, just like I was eager to hear about it when others came back. Now, after going on a Ukraine mission trip, I am excited to tell others what I saw, why we need to keep serving in this way, and how amazing God is working in this. Obviously, there isn't enough time for all of us to share, but I'm thankful to have this little bit of time to give you a hint of what to imagine it was like. I can't help but say out loud over and over again these words that came to me. Imagine a land. I feel like I want to click my heels together every time I say it, because now that I'm back, it feels like it's all a dream. Imagine a land where your annual salary is less than $3,000 a year. And to support your family, you need to work 2 to 3 jobs, and one that might take you out of the country for 3 to 6 months at a time. Where you make $50 a month on your pension when you retire, and you need to continue working anywhere you can, perhaps selling crafts, produce, and fruit on the street every day to make extra money. Or where you might sign up for government work, where you will pick up trash in your city as a senior citizen. And where an American gives you a $1 bill and you are so excited and express feeling rich just when I handed somebody a $1 bill. Imagine a land where you have one car per family, or maybe not a car at all. So you walk, ride a bus, or ride a bike. Where you pay cash for your car and house. You pay cash. And you don't have options for a loan from the bank. And your only bills are food, gas, water, electric, insurance, and of course, taxes. Imagine you pay as you go. Imagine a land where most households live with their parents or their in-laws, where there are no high school sports, no band, and where you have no clothes dryer or a dishwasher. Imagine you are served meat and potatoes, fresh vegetables and fruit, and nicely sliced cheese and bread and fish, and sometimes even cheeseburgers, and that's your breakfast. Imagine a land where activity involves taking a walk to the park so your kids can run around because you live in an apartment building or you have no yard at all. It's a land where very few restaurants have TVs. Just imagine to get better health care, you have to go to another country. But to an American advantage, we can get a full body massage for $8. Ron Klein got 2 of them. And in a very expensive restaurant where many Ukrainians have never been because it's so upscale, it's $5. But to them, $5 in American money is a lot of money. Imagine a land where many people move into a house knowing it's going to take them 5 to 10 years to finish. Perhaps the whole family sleeping in one bedroom. My mom said, well, that would sure change some areas of your life as a couple, wouldn't it? You continue to host those friends of church, and your kitchen hasn't even arrived yet. Our host was cooking on a hot plate. Imagine hosting a house guest and giving them your master bedroom, which does not include a bathroom. It's just a small bedroom. Imagine a land where the pastor's job is done without a paycheck because he has another 40-hour-a-week job plus to support his family. I learned while I was over there that there are 110 Baptist churches. And out of 110, only 2 pastors are paid and can work one job. And one of them is Colace. If you remember when he came, he was working as a pastor and had another full-time job, both taking so much time that you're rarely home. And we decided to support Pastor Colace so he could quit his other job. So now he is a full-time pastor because of us. And there's one other pastor who is supported from a church in Alabama. 108 pastors work 2 jobs. Imagine if we stopped serving alongside Hope Church. I can't imagine that because when you're there, you can see how they need us. Imagine a land where a church service every Sunday is 2 hours long, from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And sometimes it's even longer if they have a pastor who is a guest. People gather early and they wait, and they share in the fellowship before the service starts. Imagine where a church's community outreach is active every week, all summer long. The Ukraine church system has put a stop to orphans not having what they need, and the churches there have adopted all orphanages throughout Ukraine. Many of the summer weeks are met serving families and orphans and children in villages with the message and love of Jesus Christ. The entire church is active, the young, especially the young. The young, the old, the married, the single, and they are all very committed to church membership. Imagine being a member of the church and realizing that the culture of some things can get so out of control that you make a conscious choice to not participate in activities and lifestyles that might risk your health, to your family, or your testimony. So this means that you make a committed pledge to yourself and to your church and your faith not to drink, smoke, dance, or play games with playing cards. I learned this the hard way, and yes, I was the guest who, on the second night I was there, got out my decks of cards and said, "Let me show you how to play a couple games." Corrupting the Christians with a deck of cards. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong until the next day Tara said, "Mona, you played cards last night." I said, "Yeah, how did you know?" "Andrew called me this morning and confessed that he played cards."
Luckily, you didn't break out the cigarettes and the whiskey then, huh?
Right.
They'd have been ran clear out of the church.
Yeah. Thanks. That makes me feel so much better. But alcoholism is really high over there. And they're just afraid that they don't want to start even doing anything small that could lead to anything large in your life. So I want to sum it up by saying this. Imagine a land where what you want is all you have, and what you have is all you need. Now that sounds confusing, so I'm going to say it again. Imagine a land where what you want is all you have, and what you have is all you need. A couple years ago, I asked my daughter what she wanted for Christmas, and she said something like this. And I said, "What did you say?" Because it sounded so profound to me. And I wrote it down and I put it on my bulletin board at work. But what she said is, "Mom, there's nothing I need. I've got everything I have and all that I want." And she's in her 20s, and she gets it. This trip was an eye-opener. My faith was magnified. I always wanted to go on a mission trip, but I was thinking more like Kentucky, somewhere close to Ohio and not halfway around the world. But wow, thank you, church, for your support and your prayers. It really makes a difference. Americans can learn so much from the Ukrainians. And I hope next year you will consider experience the land of Oz. I don't know how many times I saw something and went, "Oh my gosh, oh wow," because I was just in awe of everything I saw. The landmarks were emotional. We saw where 17,000 Jews were killed, some of them buried alive. And people who were witnessing this said that the land moved for 7 days. I saw another area where 19,000 soldiers were buried in unmarked graves. I saw statues and buildings and people and all these gifts and was just in awe. All the while knowing there's no place like home.
Yeah, that's what I had to put up with the whole 2 weeks. Wow.
Corruption.
Yeah, corruption.
I almost danced once. Taras said, Mona. I'm like, what? Be careful. I'm like, okay. Sorry, Taras.
So I've broken them in on that. You guys know how I am anyway. And I've so many times the link will be like, Maddie, put your hands down. Maddie, stand still. Maddie. Well, during worship, I can't do it.
Yeah.
You know, we have had 20 people now in Ukraine from our church. That's awesome. Yeah. Next year, Vince, when you get your band together, we'll be way into the 30s.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
What happens if they dance?
Well, they'll.
I don't know if I could stand still.
Exactly.
Well, hear Taras saying,
I think we can help them understand the difference. Because, you know, they do worship dance in their church.
we went bowling, and when Tanya got a strike, she was like, and I'm like, she's dancing.
Yeah.
Okay, she's dancing by herself. There's a difference between dancing with somebody else. I think that's what they mean.
Yeah.
Because
I think it's the provocative groove thing that, you know, that they're after.
Yeah, but once John gets a hold of that Ukrainian coffee, who knows?
Isn't it true, Terry? Isn't their coffee like, you know, something? Yeah, you got to chew it.
I don't drink coffee, so I never experienced that. Maybe I should have.
Well, I just want to say that I had a privilege of meeting with the new regime of the Baptist Union. To show you the progress, this was the very first meeting I was allowed to be on the vision point because I'm a woman. And I've always had to go through our district pastor, Dan Peterson. It would be kind of like whisper, whisper, whisper. And he would present my ideas, or we would have a meeting prior to going into this. And so it was like really cool to sit across the new guys. It's Sasha and Sasha, so it's easy for me to remember. Pastor Taras is now in charge of the whole region of Rivna's youth and young people for the district, and a gentleman by the name of Andre. And none of that would be happening if it was not for you guys. By giving him the freedom to grow his church. It's tripled in size since we started this process, and he is now the front runner for the new vision for pastors becoming supported. And so I committed us to another 5 years. I couldn't help it. I just couldn't help it. So you'll be hearing more about that. Beth, we got just about 6 minutes. Unfortunately, you're that last guest of the late night talk show.
I thought we had up to 2 hours.
That's if you could just give us a 5-minute overview of where you were at on this, I would so appreciate it.
Yeah, 6 minutes, 60 seconds. It makes no difference. Time's immaterial. First of all, I just want to say thank you to my husband, John, for, first of all, not abandoning me in Pittsburgh, making sure that I got home, but in all seriousness, for giving me the freedom to follow my heart and to follow wherever the Lord leads me. He lets me do pretty much anything I want, and that's a rare thing, and I just want to thank him from the bottom of my heart. So... the question that's part of New Hope Live is, where do you fit in? And as I had told the first gathering, I really didn't know where I was going to fit in all of this, because I'm used to being the one who's kind of responsible for everything. And I'm used to being very competent, very capable, for being the person that whenever there's a problem, anybody comes to, and I fix it. I fix everything, and I thought, I have no idea what in the world I'm doing. And I hate that feeling. I hate admitting that there is something I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to admit that I don't know something, but I hate not knowing something. So I had told Mary a couple different times. I had told a couple of friends of mine that don't go to New Hope about this feeling too. And of course, I just kept praying to God. It's like, what am I doing? Why in the world am I going? I have no idea why I'm going. I have no idea what I'm going to do. And finally, a couple days before I went, the Lord just said, Beth, child, this is not yours to worry about. It does not depend upon you. It's not your responsibility. You don't have to make anything happen. You just have to go. I have this. This is mine. You are mine. And you're going to be me there, to show out love, to show forth kindness, and just to be my eyes, my ears, my heart, my hands, my feet. And so that's what I was
the kind
going.
of person on team that would enter a room and just smile, and kids would just come sit on her lap. People would just come sit down to talk to her. I mean, that brokenness of unpreparedness prepared you to be that recipient the whole time through.
Yeah, I was the leaker. I was always carrying around tissues because, well, I was crying basically at the drop of a hat. Not like sobbing, crying a mess or anything, but I always had tears streaming down my face for some reason or another, whether I was happy, whether I saw some pain in someone else or something like that. And basically, and in our morning devotions one time, we would always meet in the morning as a team just to kind of talk about, check in with each other, find out, hey, where are we physically, emotionally, spiritually? And then it just kind of hit me that, and I told the group, I said, I think I understand why I leak. And I said, I think I leak because I'm supposed to be broken bread and poured out wine for all of you. Because Mary and Mana, and I think even Megan also one time said that the thing that bothered them the most about me was because I would say things that they had been thinking. So when I would admit that, look, I have no idea what I'm doing, or I would talk about something else, they said, oh my gosh, those may just have been the words that I was thinking.
And that's how the uniqueness of the team comes. If God's prompting you, when the timing is right, it's perfect. And it's perfectly what we need to fit together, how we fit. It was awesome. You guys, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you again, church. We have one more video to watch, and we'll be moving on. Thank you for letting us hear the hearts of so many people. Let me just close us with some prayer as you just consider this week how you fit in and how you can go forward and be needed by Christ. Lord, I thank you so much for the privilege and opportunity for church. I thank you for being a God that speaks to us from the time we're young enough to sit on the couch and bop into the microphone and wave to the camera, all the way to us more mature people that have to hear lessons and stay on the path and the journey that we know you've asked of us. Thank you for the consideration, and may we as a church and a wholeness be those people